right, guys, on to the next lesson. This is 10.5, Area of Trapezoids. The formula is a little bit long, but you'll get used to it. And then before you know it, it'll be easy to use. That's hence why I did the emoji, the little bitmoji that I did, because this formula, this lesson's going to want to put you to sleep. But stick with me. I'll try to make it as quick and painless as possible. So again, in your notes, put 10.5, put area of trapezoids. Make sure you write that in your notes. Take all the notes you want here. I mean, there's a certain point where I'm going to tell you you need to put this in your notes, but you can put everything in your notes if you want. It'll help you because, yes, you are still going to take the chapter test. All right. So look here. Here's the formula. And I even said, copy the formula into your notes. The 1/2, and then it goes times the sum of. You have to add up your two bases. Now, let me give you a little bit of background here to better understand. So where it kind of all starts is with parallelograms, because you can take a parallelogram and you can divide that parallelogram into two trapezoids. And that's what they did here in the first picture. They put a line down the middle part, and then you have two congruent trapezoids. And so the bases of the trapezoids, that's B1, B2. And so you'll notice here B1, B2. If you add them up, it's like you're making the base of a parallelogram. So now the area of each trapezoid is half the area of the parallelogram. So that's why in the end, you have to multiply by 1/2. That's the, you're going to worry about that at the end. So the area of a trapezoid is half the product. There's that word again, product. Remember, that's multiplication of its height. And the sum, remember sum is an addition word, of its bases. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the first one. Maybe. Why are you not working for me? Okay, there we go. Maybe. Okay. I know what I was doing wrong. Technology has not been my friend these last few days. Okay, so here's the formula that you should already have written in your notes. You can put this problem in your notes or not, but when we get to the next slide, you're definitely going to have to put those in your notes. Okay, so these are your two bases here, the 1.6 and the 9/10. Okay, so say this is base 1 and this is base 2. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Just know that you have to add those two together. Always got to add those two together. And so that's what you're going to put here. You're going to put, and it doesn't even matter the order that you put them in. Oops. Okay, it doesn't even matter the order that you put them in because you're adding them up. So you have 1 6/10 and you have 9/10. And then your height. In this particular trapezoid, the height will be a dotted line inside because it needs to be straight up and down. It needs to make a 90-degree angle. So that's going to be your 6/10. So you're going to take your 1 6/10. You're going to take your 1 6/10 and you're going to take your 9/10, your two bases, and you're going to add them up. Okay, and then you're just going to bring that decimal straight down. So your sum is 2 5/10 of the two bases. Then you want to take that times your height. So you're going to take 2 5/10 times 6/10. Okay, so 6 times 5 is 30. Carry that 3. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 3 is 15. And then you can actually stop there because the next number is 0 anyways. And then notice that you have two numbers after the decimal total, after the decimals total. So that means you're going to move your decimal 2 times. Okay, so what you're going to get is you're going to get 1 5/10 or 1 50/100. So now look, you're having to half that. You got to divide that by half. Divide it by 2. So you're going to take the 1 50/100 and you're going to half it. Divide by 2. So 2 goes into 15. 7 times, that's 14. Subtract, you have 1 left over. You're going to bring down that 0, and you're going to get 75/100. So the area for each, for the trapezoid, is, I didn't even bother reading the word problem here. Sorry about that. I was so focused on just the trapezoid and trying to find the area of that trapezoid. So the area of that trapezoid shape is 75 hundredths. And the next one, so now you really need to start putting these in your notes if you haven't put them in your notes yet, because you need to start practicing, so you'll be ready to do the homework in Think Central. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add up our bases. Here's our formula, and the more you use this formula, the easier it gets. But you always got to add up your bases, because remember your two bases together, when you put them together, it's going to make a parallelogram. Because see, look here. See, now that looks like a parallelogram. So that's my 9 4/10. So then that means I need to add those two up because they make my base times my height, and then I'm going to half it. So let's, again, it really doesn't matter the order that you write these two in. But what you're going to do is you're going to add up 4 6/10, and you're going to 4 6/10 and 9 4/10. You're going to add those two up. Then we're going to take it times 3 5/10. So 4 6/10 and 9 4/10. Don't forget to bring that decimal down. You're going to get a 14. Okay, so I'll be honest. The first thing I would do here is I wouldn't worry about multiplying 14. I wouldn't do this. 14 times 3 5/10. I wouldn't worry about that. I would actually simplify this, because all we're doing now is multiplying. And with multiplication, remember that you can multiply them in any order and you're still going to get the same answer. So I would simplify the 1/2 times 14, because all that means is you're cutting 14 in half, halving 14. So half that and you're going to get 7. So then you're going to take 7 times 3 5/10. So 7 times 5 is 35, carry the 3. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 3 is 24, and then you need to move the decimal 1 decimal place. So that's your answer, 24 5/10. So the area of the trapezoid is 24 5/10. Example 2. This one is a little bit different because now we're not finding the area, we're actually going to find the height. Okay, so stick with me. You'll do several like this. As long as you use the formula and you go through the steps, you should be able to solve these. So you know the area is 702, so that's why they wrote it here. Equals 1/2 times, okay, give me the two bases, 20 and 34, times h. So h is missing. So you're still going to add up your 2. So you're going to go 20 plus 34, and that's going to be 54. Okay, now you need to simplify this, the 1/2 times 54. So remember, all that means is that you're halving 54. Divide 54 by 2. You're going to half 54. Find out what half of 54 is. It's going to be 27. Okay, so you're going to put 27 here. So now you have a multiplication equation, so you need to solve this. So you have 702 equals 27 times h. This is a multiplication equation. Use the opposite of multiplication to solve it. You're going to divide. So I need to divide both sides by 27. So see, look, this cancels out. So h is all by itself now. Now all I need to do is first make room. Oops. Then, oh my goodness. I'm still a little new with the whole pen. Okay, so now 27 into 702. So 27 can go into 70. It's got to be able to go 2 times. It's not going to be able to go more than 2. So let's say, okay, so 54. So then we're going to subtract it 16 and bring that 2 down. Now 27 into 162. So that should be able to go, I would guess, 6 times. It's 2, yep, it's going to give us 162. So that's your height. Your height is 26. So the height of the trapezoid is 26 inches. Let's look at another one. So the first one, number 1, we're actually finding the area. So you're going to take your bases. Here's a base and here's a base. You're going to add those 2 up. So you're going to add up 6 plus 3, and you're going to get 9. Now, multiply that. 9 and 4 is 36. Okay, so this makes 36. So what you have left is 1/2 times 36. So what that's telling you to do is to half it. Anytime you multiply by 1/2, that means you're going to divide by 2. So you're halving 36. So think 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 into 36. So 36 divided by 2. That's going to be 18. So your total area is 18 centimeters squared. And let's look at number 2. Number 2 is missing the height. So the way we want to do that is we want to take this formula that's back up here. The A equals 1/2 times the sum of B1 plus B2 times the height. So okay, so we're going to go 45 equals 1/2 times the sum of, again, it doesn't really matter the order that you write 10 and 8, times the height, we don't know. So I need you to add those up. Okay, so that's going to be 1/2 times 18 times h. So I need you to simplify that now. So 1/2 times 18. In other words, half 18. What's half of 18? 9. So it's going to be 9 times h. Okay, so I'm kind of running out of room here. So I'm going to come over here. Oops, I turned my eraser on. Okay, so it's going to be 45 equals 9 times h. That's what I get. Now this one, you can do this in your head, because think about what times 9 will give you 45? 5, because 9 times 5 will give you 45. So that means your height is 5. Now the last one, number 3, we're doing area. So we're going back with that formula again, and we're going to go 1/2 times. Now we're going to add up our bases. And again, it really doesn't matter the order that you write 43 and 17, because you're going to add them up, times your height, which is 18. Okay, so add these two up, should be 60. Okay, so now you got 1/2 times 60 times 18. Okay, so now instead of doing 60 times 18, I would simplify the 1/2 times 60. So the 1/2 times 60, that means divide 60 in half, half it. So think about it. What's half of 60? 30. So now all I need you to figure out is 30 times 18. So 30 and 18. So 8 times 0, 0, 8 times 3, 24, 1 times 0, 0, 1 times 3, 3. Okay, and that's your answer, 540. So your area is 540 millimeters squared. Now we just have a couple more slides to go through. So this is a good time for you to maybe pause if you want to give this a go on your own and see how you do. Otherwise, I'm just going to start going through 4 through 7, and I'm just going to solve each one. And I gave you the formula up here, so make sure you use that formula. The more you use it, the easier it gets. The first thing you want to do always is just add up your bases. So I'm going to write this out. So it's going to be 1/2 times. Now I want you to add up your bases. So 21 plus 17, and then times your height. So right away, again, it doesn't matter if you do 17 plus 21 or 21 plus 7. It doesn't matter. It's going to still give you the same answer. So I need you to add up 21 and 17, and that should give you 38. So now you're going to go 1/2 times 38. Oops, what am I doing here? I didn't mean to put h, because we know the height there. The height is 14 times 14. Now, instead of going 38 times 14, I would probably simplify 1/2 and 38. So if I do that, you're going to divide both of these by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 38 divided by 2, you got to figure out, what is that? That's 19. So you're going to get 19. So now all I have left to figure out is 19 times 14, and that's going to give me the area. So if I go 19 times 14, okay, so 4 times 9, that's 36. 4 times 1 plus 3, that's going to be 7. 1 times 9, that's 9. 1 times 1, 1. And we're going to get 266. So that's our area, 266 inches squared. Let's move on to 5. 5, again, we're finding the area. It's not till we get to 6 and 7 that we have to find the height. So we're going to plug in what we know so far. We're going to go 1/2 times our the sum of our two bases, which is 2.8 plus 9.2 times 4.2. So you're going to add up 2.8 and 9.2. 2.8, 9.2, and that's going to be 12. Okay, so you got 1/2 times 12 times 4.2. Now you can simplify here the 1/2 times 12, because remember that just means that you're going to half 12, so that's going to be 6. So you're going to go 6 times 4.6. Once you do that, you're going to have your final answer. So we're going to do 4.6 times 6. And so 6 times 6 is 36. Carry the 3. 6 times 4 is 24. Add 3 is 27. Don't forget you have a decimal. You need to move it once. And so your area is going to be 27 6/10 meters squared. Okay, so on the next two, we're missing the height. So we need to use our formula and solve for the height. I need to make a little bit of room here. Okay. All right, so we're going to go and start plugging things in, since using our formula that's up at the top. We know our area, so that's going to be 500 equals 1/2 times, now we want to add up our two bases, which is 12 5/10 plus 27 5/10 times h, because we don't know the height. So now I need you to add up 12 5/10 and 27 5/10. Okay, I get 40. Remember, bring that decimal down. So you're going to get 40 here. So 1/2. So we still have 500, equals 1/2 times 40 times h. So 40 is what I get when I add up my two bases. Now I need to simplify this, the 1/2 times 40. So in other words, half 40. What is half of that? 20. So 20 times h. And don't forget your 500, bring that in. Okay, so this is a multiplication equation, so I need you to use division to solve it. So that means you're going to divide both sides by 20. So figure out 20 into 500, so it's going to go 2 times, should be 25 total. That's 40, subtract, bring that 0 down. 20 into 100 is 5. So that's your height. Your height is 25 inches. Okay, we have one more like that. Probably gonna have to do some erasing here to make room, but let's write out the problem first. So 99 equals 1/2 times, now your two bases. They're trying to trick you here. All they did was just lay the trapezoid on its side. So these are your two bases here. Your bases are always parallel of each other. And then you don't know the height. So just imagine if this trapezoid fell over on its side. So let's put our two bases. Our two bases are 3.2 plus, I'm going to say 10.0 times h. Okay, because I need to add these two up, and I need to make sure that I line everything up correctly. Otherwise, I have the chance of maybe adding it up wrong. So, oops. I keep hitting the eraser on my pen. So add these two up, you're going to get 13.2. So then, so this becomes 13.2. Okay, now I need my eraser because I do need to kind of get rid of some of this stuff and make room over here. I can use this area over here to work out this problem, to work out number 7. So now, okay, so now it's going to be 99 equals 1/2 times 13.2 times h. So I need to simplify the 1/2 times 13.2. So in other words, I'm going to half 13.2. So you can just divide it by 2. So 2 goes into 13 6 times. It's 12. Subtract, you have 1 left over. Bring that 2 down. 2 into 12 is 6 again. So this gives me 6.6. So 6.6, or 6 and 6/10 times h. And don't forget to bring down your area, which is 99. Okay, so you're going to see here that I have 99 equals 6 and 6/10 times h. So this is a multiplication equation, therefore you're going to do the opposite of multiplication. You're going to divide both sides. So divide both sides by 6 and 6/10. So that cancels out. Now, when I do that, here's what it looks like. And hopefully you notice right away that you can't solve it like this, because you can't solve with a decimal here on the outside. So you need to move that decimal once to get rid of it, which means you need to add a decimal and a 0 and move it once inside the division box as well. So now I do need my eraser. So this is going to go away, and this becomes 990. So now 66 can go into 99 one time. Okay, then you're going to subtract, and you're going to bring that 0 down, you're going to 330. So 66 can go into 330 5 times. And it goes in nice and evenly. So our height is 15 centimeters. Okay, 2 slides left. 8, 9 go together. So the first one is a baseball. Home plate can be divided into 2 trapezoids with the dimensions shown in the drawing. Find the area of home plate. So, in other words, we need to find just for one of these trapezoids first. Okay, so this is a base, 17. This is a base, 8.5. This is going to be my height right here. But my height is not 17. The whole line is 17, so I need to half 17. So you need to divide 17 by a half, and 2 goes into 17 8 times. Subtract, you get 1 left over, bring that 0 down. So that's 8.5. Okay, so now just looking at the trapezoid that I outlined here, you're going to do 1/2 times your 2 bases, which are 8.5 plus, I'm going to do 17.0 times my height, which is 8.5. So now I'm going to add these 2 up, and I'm going to add a decimal and a 0 to 17, so I make sure I line everything up correctly. So I'm going to get 1/2 times 25, oops, that's not right, 25 and 5/10 times 8.5. Okay, so there's no good way to do this one. So what I would do is I would just multiply these 2 together. So 25 and 5/10 times 8 and 5/10. So I'd multiply these 2. Once you get that answer, then you're going to half it. Divide it by 2. Okay, so 5 times 5 is 25. Carry that 2. 5 times 5 again is 25 plus 2 is 27. Carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12. Then we're going to go 8 times 5 is 40. So carry that 4. 8 times 5 again is 40 plus 4, so that's 44. And then we're going to go 8 times 2 is 16 plus 4 is 20. Okay. All right, so now let's add that. Let's add it all up. 1, 2. And then you have 2 numbers after the decimals, so you're going to move your decimal 2 times. So now I need you to take, so we get 200, 16, and 75 hundredths, and you're going to divide that by 2. I know I'm kind of, well, let me see if I can work it out here. Okay, so 2, bring that decimal up too. Okay, so 2 goes into 2 once. 0, bring down that 1. Now 2 goes into 1 0 times. Okay, and then 6. I'm afraid I'm going to run out of room here. 2 goes into 16 8 times. Okay, then you want to bring that, that 7 down. Okay, so I'm going to bring that 7 down. Now 2 goes into 7 3 times. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so that's 6, 1, bring that 5 down. Okay, so now 2 goes into 15, 7 times, that's 14. Subtract, add a 0, and bring it down. Now 2 can go into 10 5 times. So that's actually going to be your answer for just one of these is 108 and 375 thousandths, which means that this one is also 108 and 375 thousandths. So if you add those two back up, if you add the two back up, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get 216 and 75 hundredths. So the area of the home plate is 216 and 75 hundredths inches squared. So technically we didn't really have to divide by 2 because we actually want to know the two together, and well, each one is 108 and 375 thousandths. So when you add these two back up, you're right back at 216 and 75 hundredths. Okay, so I need to do a little bit of erasing. So I have room to work out this next one. In fact, there's really not that much to do for this next one, and I will show you why in a sec. Let me erase. We're almost done. I just have this and a couple other things on the next slide, and we're done. So bear with me. So now this next one is, they're saying that what if you put these two trapezoids together and made a rectangle, which you could. You're going to take these two pieces right here and they're going to meet. So what it's going to look like, it's going to look like this. Okay, so if I put it together, so I just took this one and I moved it. So now this is 17, and here's my 8.5, and then of course my height is going to be 8.5 as well, because half of 17 is 8.5. So look, this is what my rectangle looks like. So the dimensions, I'll get to that in just a sec. I need you to add up your two bases, which we've already done, so you don't need to do it again. If we add up our two bases, it's going to give us 25 and 5/10, and then we know our height is 8.5. Okay, but since we're talking rectangle, and when you're doing the area of a rectangle, it's length times width. So the dimensions would be 25 and 5/10 times 8 and 5/10. And so it's going to give you the same answer as 8, because it's not like the shape, we may have moved things around, but the area itself has stayed the same. So whether you're trying to find the area of it as a trapezoid, it's two trapezoids that make a home plate, or if we rearrange the shapes have not changed to size. We just moved the shapes around and we made a rectangle. So your area is still going to be 216 and 75 inches squared. Okay, last one. 10, don't really need to use the trapezoid formula on 10. So you have, here's what you need to know. So this is a pattern on a floor, so this is a tile. The side of the inner square is 10, so that means that these are 10 by 10. Okay, so the area of the blue is 10 times 10, which is 100 because I did 10 times 10. Then you're going to do, the outer square is 30 by 30. Okay, so I need to find the area of the whole entire big square as a whole. So I'm going to do 30 times 30. So remember, 3 times 3, 9, and then add 2 zeros on the end. So now I need to take away the blue. I need to take away this blue right here from the 900. And the blue is 100. Okay, so take that away and you're going to have 800. Now, so all of this right here is 800. But it's broken up into 4 equal trapezoids. So divide that by 4. So if you go 4 into 800, it's going to be 200. So what's the area of one of the yellow trapezoids? It's 200 centimeters squared. Because 200, another 200, 200, 200, it makes it the 800. All right, 11, okay, just 2 left, almost there. A trapezoid has a height of 12 and the base of 14, and 10. Okay, you have 2 bases, remember, and you have to add up your 2 bases. First thing you're always going to do is add up your 2 bases. So your 2 bases added up, so we're going to go 1/2 times, add up the 2 bases, 14 and 10. So that's 24 times 12, because the 12 is my height. So now what I would do is I would simplify this, the 1/2 times 12. And we're going to get half of 24 is 12. Now I want you to go 12 times 12 and you're going to get 144. So she's wrong here because she says the area of the trapezoid is 288. No, the area of the trapezoid is 144 centimeters squared. The reason why she got 288, and I'll tell you here, the reason why she got 288 is because 24 times 12 gives you 288. She didn't half it. That's what she did wrong. She did not half it. Divide by 2. She did not half once she multiplied 24 times 12. And so because she didn't half it, she got 288 instead of the correct answer of 144. Okay, so now the last one, number 12, I just want you to remember, again, the formula, 1/2 times, you're going to add up your 2 bases, so base 1 plus base 2 times height. So now you're going to start plugging in. Here's my 2 bases. So let's write it out. So this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be 1/2 times, now I want to write my 2 bases. It really doesn't matter the order I put my 2 bases in, so 1.5 plus 3.5, and then times my height, 4. So now, do you see that anywhere? Look at A, B, C, and D, and do you see that it's B? You see B? B looks just like what I wrote. Okay, now I want you to add up 1.5 and 3.5. Okay, I want you to add those up, and you get, okay, so now instead of 1.5 plus 3.5, this makes 5. So now, do you see that anywhere on A, C, or D? You should see it in D. They just put a 5, but 5 or 5.0, it's the same thing. So D. So your answers here are B and D. And that's it. So hopefully that makes some sense and that will help you on the homework in Think Central for 10.5.